Hello, what's up YouTubers? This is Martin446, today with a tour review for you. Today's tour review, we will having a look at Neca Predators Series 4. We will having a look at today at the Neca Predator 2 City Hunter. Awesome. This is the second figure I got from Predator Series 4. If you saw my previous review, it was on the Neca Boar Predator, which I did actually a week ago. But because I did get a good grade for mathematics, I actually got this guy, which I'm extremely happy about. And this figure is amazing. And from a side note there, if you ask me, still today, the City Hunter Predator is by far one of my favorite looking Predators of all the Predators. I mean, I love his design and I love his look. I love this really mean expression on his face. First we have to take a look at the packaging. It's the same like the others. You got the same shape bubble packaging with the biomask of the Berserker Predator, the City Hunter Predator, Predator 2, with over 25 points of articulation, and includes a smart disc accessory. You got here you got an amazing picture of the City Hunter from Predator 2. On the back you see Predator 2 City Hunter. The aliases is Ghost. His weapons he uses in the movie is a disc, a net launcher, a plasma caster, and a wrist blade. He does also make use of a spear. Of course, you get that accessory with the Berserker Predator 2-pack, which I will get next week or this week, I hope. There's a read-up on there. The Lost Hunters, a clan shrouded in mystery, travelers of both time and space. The Predators exist to hunt, and they adhere to a strict code of honor where they defeat and equal to death. By the way, this is actually the same read-up as the Boar Predator. Also available, I did a review on the very amazing looking Boar Predator. I will review now the unmasked version of the City Hunter. I will get the masked version City Hunter. And I will also get the Shaman Predator, which looks very awesome. Let's get this awesome picture out of this packaging. Let's see what we have. So we have opened up the Neca City Hunter Predator from Predator Series 4, of course. And just as Boar Predator, this figure is fantastic. I mean, just fantastic. Just a beautiful figure. It is, in my personal opinion, just a beautiful figure. Let's first take a look at the more at the details and kind of stuff. Let's first focus at the face of him. Of course, at the Neca City Hunter and Berserker Predator 2-pack, there is of course a masked version of him. I will get that set as well. And the single carded one was the unmasked version. And I really love the head sculpt of him. I've heard some people that had complaints with the head sculpt. I will bring kind of a comparison. There was the head sculpt in the packaging at San Diego Toy Fair 2011. And this is the head sculpt we got in the figure. Some people didn't like the head sculpt of the City Hunter, and the biggest problems of him was this part around here. And they said that it was a bit too light and kinds of stuff. Yeah, it is not the same as the Toy Fair version, the 12-inch version at Toy Fair, but I really digging the head sculpt. The head sculpt is a fantastic piece. The sculpt is
is top notch. There is no issues whatsoever in my personal preference. And of course, this isn't the first time that they actually released a Neca City Hunter Predator, because he was released 3 times at not by Neca but by McFarlane back in the past. I thought that particular City Hunter was really awesome. This one I think just blows them away. I think this one looks so much better. The paint is top notch. There is no paint issue whatsoever. Very nicely done. The face, I'm really loving the face. Of course, the City Hunter stands as one of my favorite looking Predators of all time, as the 3rd place. Really love the design of the City Hunter. Really love the design. He's got this very nice bronze looking armor. Team Service actually said it actually looks kind of like a samurai, and I have to admit it kind of looks actually like a samurai kinds of stuff in my personal preference. It looks really awesome. One thing I always love about these Neca Predators is the fact that they have actually the blackish theme in their eyes. Very menacing and very dark. Just as the Elder Predator, I always find it very cool that a Predator had these very blackish kind of eyes. It adds more character to them, it adds more detail to them, and more creepiness. And some of the Predators later, like the Alien vs Predators, not the Alien vs Predator Requiem so much, but really the very first Alien vs Predators, they looked very different if you compare it to the older Predators and even the new Predators from Predators. They really removed some great details, like the hairs, the skin pep, the skin tone, and kinds of stuff. One thing I never liked about the Alien vs Predators is the fact, maybe I'm a little wrong, but they actually all 3 had the same face, and that's one downfall I had with the Predators. They had the same armor, the same weapons. The only thing that was different is the mask. I mean, come on. Well, it is a pretty good idea, but to give them a little bit more character is a cool thing. A cooler thing, in my opinion, was they actually did in Predator 2. Every Predator had a different kind of thing, which I love. Just like people, everybody's different. Like the Boar Predator, he had a mask, no wrist plates, and had his own design. The Shaman Predator has a staff and his very nice skin color. And that's one thing that's really could have been better in Alien vs Predator. Well, it's at least my opinion, but they could have been a little bit more, you know, different in design. But still, the Alien vs Predators were pretty good in my opinion. And I mean, really, not as cool as the other Predators from Predator 1, the classic Predator, the Predators from Predator 2, definitely not. And also not from the Predators movie. I also love the designs of the Predators from Predators. And but we're getting way off topic here. I really love the detail in their eyes. And why I also talk about the Alien vs Predator? Well, they actually had removed some details, and one of those reasons. One of those details actually removed is the blackish theme in their eyes, which just sucks in my opinion. I just keep the blackish theme in their eyes. Just keep it. That's one thing which I always recommend about Predator. This blackish theme in their eyes. And they really did a spectacular job with the paint. Sorry, maybe it's a little blurry, but very amazing. The mandibles are done really well. The paint is done really well. The teeth are top notch. The inside of his mouth is painted and sculpted very well. It's just amazing. Just amazing. The dreadlocks are the same very awesome material that actually used as the Boar Predator. And one thing I always love about Predator Series 4 is the fact that almost, well, most of all, the dreadlocks are separate pieces. One of the issues which people had with the previous Predators, or definitely the Predators from the past by McFarlane, is the fact that all the dreadlocks are clumped together, and that really limits the head articulation. But these particular Predators don't have really the issue at all, and really loving the dreadlocks. You see some rings to the dreadlocks in themselves. Really awesome. I'm really loving the face, I have to say. The armor is spectacular, sculpted and painted. I mean, it just looks top notch. I'm really liking this part right here. It looks aged, nice, weathered, very realistic, and very amazing. His shoulder pads, again, this very nice soft material, so it doesn't limit the the shoulder articulation. His gauntlet right here, with the self-destructor right here. You can't open the self-destructor, which is common in the new Neca Predators. His hands are very nicely sculpted. It is the same hand, however, as the Boar Predator, but it's painted pretty different. This one is much more whiter on the inside, and on the outside it is more, you know, brownish with some black spots. Here he's got his little trophy purse right there for some collectibles. If he's searching for some food, I don't know, or bones. His very awesome looking wrist plates. Very nice, very spectacular sculpted. By far, the wrist plates from Neca are so much nicer, if you ask me, than McFarlane ones. The plastic quality is much better, but the way how they are made is such a step up. I will bring you a comparison if you got a whole second. Here you got the Predator from Predator 2. I'm sorry, his mask is keeping falling off. But here you got the wrist plates from Neca, and here you got the wrist plates from McFarlane. And you really see a night and day comparison, if you ask me. Neca by far is much nicer. And this is the way how they actually extend it. If you actually pull them back, this is the way. This is the farthest way they actually can extend, which is pretty way too short in my opinion, but it isn't too bad. If you extend these bad boys, wow, they are very amazing looking wrist plates. Always love the fact you actually can remove wrist plates in and out. Very, very nice indeed. And they're actually kind of different if you compare it to the Classic Predator, because the Classic Predator has this kind of underside to it, but these ones are a little bit more slender. Again, the netting is always one thing that really excels in Predator Series 3. I think I like this netting a little bit more than Boar's ones. Because you actually kind of see it more common in the City Hunter, being the skin color. Very nicely sculpted, very nicely netted. I'm sorry, painted. It looks very, very top notch. The paint color, the skin color is of course top notch. The shin guards are very nicely aged. His bare feet are looking very cool. Here got actually some very, very white feet on the underside. On the back, this is actually the Predator which has the most things on his back. He's got this very nicely armor done on the back, and very nicely sculpted. Of course, this plasma caster right there. People had problems with the plasma caster. Yes, it's a little bit on the small side, because it's a little uncommon in Predator 2. He had a much smaller plasma caster than the Classic Predator. People had issues. It kind of blocks the way in the if you compare it to the head, but I think this shoulder cannon looks actually pretty awesome, if you ask me. Yes, I'm a kind of a positive guy, but I really like the shape of the plasma caster. If you gotta compare it to the McFarlane ones looks a lot more chunkier This one is a little bit more slender and, in my opinion, a lot more detailed. But this one has a arm for the Plasmacaster, and this one almost doesn't. And that's one thing that people had issues with. Well, it was commented it had a arm kind of thing. You actually see kind of on the underside, but not too bad. You can slide the Plasmacaster forward, which is, in my opinion, kind of a step up if compared to this one. Because one thing you have that wasn't common with this one is some of the joints from here were really loose, so it's a very flimsy piece. And if you want to bring it forward, it falls right back, which is kind of a downfall. But the Plasmacaster looks really awesome. There is a ball joint at the top of the Plasmacaster. My Plasmacaster is really stiff, so I don't kind of playing around with it before I break it, and kinds of stuff. But just a fantastic figure. In the way of his articulation, he does have a ball jointed head. You can move it very freely because of the dreads. He has a ball jointed shoulder. You can move the arm all the way around, in and out. And you can bend at the elbow, rotate the elbow, ball jointed wrist, right there. It's a little bit more common than this one, ball jointed wrist. There is a ball joint in the waist, which I found very amazing. The hips, I mean the legs are again by far the best articulated legs in the Predator license. The legs are on a ball joint or a pin socket. You can move them back and forth, in and out, rotate the thigh. Bend at the knees at 2 points. Very cool, they actually put netting inside of the joint. And there is a ball jointed ankle. So that is really articulation of beauty. In the way of accessories, if you count the Plasmacaster and the wrist plates, he does come, and of course his net gun right there, which he uses in the movie. Again, very nicely sculpted and painted. Here you got a comparison with the McFarlane ones. The McFarlane one still looks a lot more bigger, but this one, in my personal preference, is a lot more detailed and painted. After that, he came with this smart disc. Same accessory as the Boar Predator, but this time in a bronze color instead of silver. One of the downfalls which many people have with the holster of the disc, which is very nicely painted right there. You can plug in the smart disc very easily, and it sits right there. But if you're doing this, well, not so much on this one, but it was very common in the Boar Predator. The smart disc felt very easy off his belt, and that's a sign for lost the smart disc easy. Well, it actually almost happened with my Boar Predator. Luckily I'm saying right now, luckily not, but be careful with the smart disc holster before you losing the disc itself. Also, one of the strange things I had is he comes with a disc. His hand is posed like this, and you can't really put the disc in his hand. So, well, you can actually put it in his hand right like this, but not really like the Boar Predator. That's one little strange thing I might add, but it isn't too bad. There it fell again. But after that, just a fantastic figure. I mean, this figure is just a beauty. One of those reasons is because the City Hunter Predator is one of my favorite Predators if I had a top 3. And I love his design. I love his design. I love the way he kills people. And Predator 2, not as great if you ask me, like Predator 1 or even Predators. Predators was a fantastic movie in my opinion. But Predator 2, still a very, very nice looking movie. It is different. It is in the jungle with Schwarzenegger. It is in the city, of course. But I always love the design of the City Hunter. And the unmasked version getting him from Neca is a beauty. And I think this is right now, maybe it will change. I think this is right now my favorite Predator of Predator Series 4. But it's gonna be a very hard match between the three of them, because I love all three of these Predators. I mean, really, all of these three Predators are fantastic. But the City Hunter is definitely a fantastic figure. If you're gonna give him a rating, it's gotta get a 10. A good solid 10. And again, one of my favorite Predators right now in my collection. Really blows the McFarlane Predators away. Well, of course, McFarlane Predators are still great in my opinion, but they had some issues. But these ones are kind of a step up. These ones are still great in my opinion, but these ones are a little bit more on the step up size, and just a fantastic figure. Taking his wrist blades out, right there. I'm putting him in a very dynamic pose. Right there. So here you got the City Hunter again. And just an outstanding looking figure. But if you're really a big Predator fan, this particular series of Predators is a must-have. Maybe you don't like action figures and kinds of stuff, but at least give these Predators a chance. Predator Series 4, fantastic, beautiful figures. They're selling at Toys R Us for 15 bucks. 15 bucks is actually is a good price for these particular figures. They're large, they're big, and they're spectacular detailed, and they have a ton of articulation. But Neca City Hunter, by now, maybe it will change, my favorite Predator of Predator Series 4. The design is amazing. And I absolutely just adore this figure. But this concludes my Neca City Hunter Predator. Lots of Predator figures reviews on the way. And I will see you guys then. Later.
There's no escape. I'm my own worst enemy. I've given